Here we go, Cameron.
Hi guys, welcome to Dojo Earth Radio, this Friday Dojo session. I'm Kameron Primm, I'm your moderator today. Thank you, James, our host, for allowing me that privilege. Hold on, James, I'm sorry, I think I spoke over you a little bit. How's it going? James is probably just checking in here. It looks like so far mostly familiar faces. If anyone does happen to come in, if this by chance is streaming live, there is a bar at the bottom where you can select the reactions button, and there you can raise your hand if you want to be chosen in turn to speak your mind. Otherwise, most people here feel free to chime in whenever you have something to say. I really enjoyed James's episode today. It seems somewhat like a continuation of lately, a little bit of trepidation about how to move forward, perhaps given the James didn't use trepidation, so maybe I shouldn't just like to use that word, but in these slower days of summer, just trying to figure out exactly how you're going to have the fuel you need to keep the airship afloat.
Yeah, I would imagine a lot of us are going through that. I hope you can hear me. I think we're back online and everything's streaming now. So trying to get faster that. It looks like it takes me about 6 minutes to end the stream and then get here. So I'm going to try and leave early next time. So I appreciate you, Cameron. Thanks.
No problem. It was going so well. I lost track of time. By the time you closed, I was like, oh, 1 minute left. So I told Lori I'm here without coffee today because I didn't want to be late. You kind of picked up a little bit today on your continuation of your Monday show, which was an excellent show. Really, and also I love the HD premiere. You asked for feedback during the live stream about the stream. To me, the stream audio always sounds great. It does seem like it's still a little jumpy, but none of that was a factor in the HD premiere. I think that was really an excellent way to put the stream back out there in a way that's what people have come to expect from you.
Good. Yeah. Thanks.
But subject matter wise, I loved Monday's show about the evil eye. That's been a long interest of me. I don't usually use the one that incorporates the hand. We keep most of our idols are, this type of eye. I don't even know. That's probably not even the evil eye, but I always thought of the hand aspect as like a lucky hand or something.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, that is the evil eye, what you have. It's just that that same eye symbol is sometimes incorporated into a hand, which kind of makes sense, right? Because the hand is controlling the evilness, so to speak, or catching it, or
yeah, it's lucky to have one. You can, if you but what you were talking about today, as far as not only the power of witness and how we key into that as our conscious grows, also as our conscious grows, we have to start navigating things like truth and lies. And this is an interesting topic for me, given where the group's gone over the course of these years I've been paying attention. Authenticity has always been something that's been valued here. And given that we're talking about witness and truth and lies, I have this juxtaposition between being, which I think of as something that is synonymous with substance or authenticity. And then there's this thing that I learned in my little bit of time working with law teams, and that is appearances. Which seem more evanescent or more tricky and fleeting and can be misread. I say that I learned that with the legal team. But when I used to do write-ups for some of the documents, I just noticed it was always stressed. Nothing ever was. It only ever appeared to be. And that was, in a sense, to give a person a little bit of wiggle room to be wrong, because, in the legal game, it can be very costly to make a mistake. And so that is... just in language terms, a way to say, I witnessed this, I measured it, this is what I make of it, but I can't say still that it is. I have to say its appearances, because a stronger degree of witness could come in and get underneath what I saw, and which again, though, it gets to me back into the power of imagination, or not even imagination, the power of witness, the power of conscientious witness or conscious witness. And so really fascinating stuff today.
Thanks. I was trying to build up to, I wanted to remind people of how big the evil eye actually was, that Greek ships would place this on the front of their prows. It was pretty prevalent. It's a pretty big deal. pretty much the only symbol I think that first started to emerge, in an early form, and I think it's profound just because of how powerful that is to witness and see things. So I was just gonna move into the idea of first from the Shemesh, which I just think is fucking fascinating that the original ark was a box, a cube, in fact, and the people knew how to build boats back then. This wasn't like someone just guessing of what what might be a good navigational instrument. Like it's very purposely not a navigational instrument. It had a waterfall inside of the ark. It had trees inside of the ark. They were planted on different floors. It was meant to be almost a terrarium, an immobile terrarium of sorts that just was separate in some way. And that if you look at a caveman trying to explain what a cell phone would be, it kind of looks like this. A genetic thermos would look like this. It would be described in exactly this same way. And using that same parallel, the idea of witness being the rise of self and seeing the self, uh, I think fits perfectly. It absolutely conveys that, which of course I know is an idea that I already kind of beat with a stick last time, but it's just such a crucial one. And I thought that if we moved into the Ophanum, the just the conceptual idea. Daniel's horn was with eyes, for example, in 165 BC. In apocalyptic vision, a beast's horns has eyes like a man, intelligent, vigilant, and potentially deceptive in power. This is the rise of deception itself as being even an instrument, even something that's even like a known. You, you know, picture that there was a time when deception just wasn't even understood as deception. It was, it's such an advanced form of thinking to imbue someone with the art of deceiving you. It's such a complex rise. And it would take so many years of being deceived over and over again in the most painful ways for us to develop this nuance, for us to develop this form of perception, which is why ultimately what I was trying to just say, which I can just say now quickly, is that the theme of the show was the reason why angels have to be full of eyes is because God itself is the rising of consciousness in the world. And the things that are the closest to God would have these equations of witness to them. And the reason why cherubs and seraphim have these different, I finally have actually brought it because I don't want to tell you wrong. The has these different concepts of, hang on a second, I'm about to find it. Seraphim, the burning one. Let me see if I can just share this. Share. Boom. That when you start to look at how we've tried to characterize angels, Isaiah 6:17, you're looking at a six-winged creature, but two of the wings are covering its feet, two of the wings are covering its face, and two are for flight. But meanwhile, the cherubim is four faces and four wings, two cover its feet, two for its flight, but its face is uncovered. And then you have the thrones itself, which is just an XYZ quaternion. Literally, guys, if you were in 3D, in any 3D program, and you wanted to rotate an object, you're going to see an icon that looks like this throne. And you could spin it on the X, on the Y, and on the Z. And that would be the birth of identity. You could look at this as the birth of identity, that the birth of being able to uh, carry God but not look at him directly, and then the ability to be the face of God, but still with these covered feet. I think that the covered feet are the closest that caveman can equate to being connected to something that we cannot see. So the connected to a higher power, the feet would be the way that they're living in that realm, they're standing on that place, and that place is the realm outside of ourselves, which I don't mind it's calling God, don't get me wrong, but honestly it's just consciousness. that really this whole time it's just been this relationship with consciousness, which is why the God and the self are inseparable. It's only lately have we even really started, I think in a way, we even developed the split between the self and God just because we wanted to think about God, but we didn't want to imbue ourselves with all that power. So we had to separate seeing ourselves from God when really it's we're doing the same thing when we're looking at what I was describing earlier. When you're seeing evil in the world, you're just trying to see that evilness in yourself, but you need the world to broadcast it out so you can reflect it. So, in the same way, as we come to understand consciousness, we have to split ourselves from consciousness, create a sort of mini me, something more palatable, something that we can digest and believe in as a form of lower consciousness, just so we will have the vessel, just so we will have the ability, the language, the fieldings to behold something so much beyond us in that way. Each of us is a triangle rendering our own tiny little pixel in the world. And that's because otherwise the amperage that would come through would render us useless. We would be incapable of creating a picture so large if we understood what the entire picture needed to say. We just need a little piece, and we just need the authenticity to focus on that, basically. That's all I got.
Well, just like in the sharing of some of my personal experiences with Freemasonry that, you know, seem to contradict other people's opinions of it, although I've only heard so far more of an ad hominem argument towards me rather than anybody addressing any of the actual experiences that I related that might imply certain ways that things work. But you know, what I experienced was not lying per se, because I saw everything. So that's why I just shared. It wasn't, you know, I saw it. They weren't lying to me because I saw what was going on. They were lying to themselves and pretending like they were lying. So they were lying about lying. It's like, look at us, we're lying. I'm like, no, you're not. And people don't like that because when you can see it. So I'm not surprised at the reaction, but you know, I didn't intend to spark off a Freemason fest, but I did hope that my experiences would, being so lengthy and over time, would bear some weight and discussion, other than the type of discussion that I've been involved in so far, which is kind of an ad hominem kind of a thing. And, you know, pretty much a getting in the way, just exactly what I talked about. So I think it's been pretty demonstrated. It should be self-evident by now, or certainly now that I've spoken on it, everybody has another chance for it to become evident. And I don't really have anything to add as a discussion, but once again, as I've mentioned,
honey, I have no idea what you just said. Before you go on, could you just kind of, I need you to speak more directly.
Well, I'm speaking directly to just what I've spoken on. I think you've seen my comments, you know, maybe there can be some more explanation.
I knew you were upset. And I'm sorry that you felt like there was a lot of people against you. I didn't think that happened.
I didn't feel that way. I felt like expressing further, since I didn't feel like I was able to express myself all the way on the airship. So I was just adding on to that within the confines of the community. And I didn't respond to your comment about if I'm well, because it had a wellness check and I didn't care for it. And so I just let it hang there. You know, if you want to, that's part of the ad hominem. Like, are you okay? Are you bitter? Are you?
Yeah, you sound really upset in that post.
Yeah, it's low hanging fruit, and it displays part of what I'm speaking of that contradicts some of the respect that people might have for Freemasonry. And you think that I'm in some, you know, I would say that I have more interaction with society than most people here. You guys are pretty reclusive. I'm in a state capital that's like got a huge amount of Freemasonic activity that I just happen to be clued into a huge amount more than most people would. So, you know, even on Rachel Maddow, you want to see the girl that made me quit racing bikes, that was the friend of my girlfriend that betrayed me at the co-op with the Black Lives Matter Jewish protest, and then didn't take any responsibility, and then got a job as a part-time stalker just to bug me and be there. And then she got picked up on Rachel Maddow showing how angry it is, you know. So if you want an example of the rare elixir of experience that I happen to have here, maybe that would bear some weight. And Deb, I'm not going to answer directly to you because I don't feel like that's productive. And I said what I had to say. And if you have a particular thing that you want to ask me, I'm always available since 2020, like I always have, right here in the dojo. And so, you know, it's just one of the rare features of the dojo that's not been used. And so that's, you know, I appreciate your concern, but don't worry, I'm okay, Deb.
I'm an old lady. Give me a break, right? I'm an old lady. I really
when do I get to be an old man? Only when you want to make me look weak and bitter. You know, I'm not that old, and I don't feel very old. I got the body of a much younger man, so those types of things don't concern me. And sure, I responded in a way just because I feel like standing up for myself.
Which you should.
I don't care. I don't care that there's Freemasons that disagree. I shared my experience. You know, if you have to overlay it with, you know, some type of dogma and to show how great it is, you know, that's fine. You know, people seem to like it and respond to it. I'm the one, you know, I'm the nemesis here. I'm the one that people are hating. Do you see me hating people back? I'm just, you know, expressing my actual experiences. And people want to sum it up and just, you know, rephrase what I say and act like they know what I'm talking about, when every word that comes out of their mouth sounds like they don't know what I'm talking about. So I'll just stop there since nobody seems to know what I'm talking about.
So, Py, I'm kind of curious. Are you calling people in the dojo Freemasons?
Yeah, I don't get it.
And then are you also like, you know, like, I don't think anyone can really understand anyone.
Yeah,
so,
no. Well, how would I know that? No, just people seem to like it, though. I don't know that that means they're a Freemason, but.
Like what?
I don't know, just the response from people, and just James has an appreciation for it, and people respond to things he says. I don't know. That seems obvious to me. That why would you?
I think we're all interested in mystery schools of different types. It's a mystery school. I mean, I don't have any axe to grind about Freemasonry. My dad's dead. I just and they wouldn't let me join because I'm a girl. So
yeah,
you know, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, well, it was more of a, you know, maybe just a questioning to find the goodness in Freemasonry. And, you know, James has his way of talking about it with evil as kind of an adjuvant. And, you know, it's kind of a cart before the horse thing, you know. It's just that it makes sense and it sounds good, but it doesn't match up with my experience. And so there's something more here. But if people just want to say they've dug deeper than me and I'm wrong, that's fine. But, you know, these kind of things I would expect them to take time, and I wouldn't expect somebody to, it's not the type of thing that you would figure out right away. And I'm a proponent of a more natural system that I believe is available. And that's what I tried to present, a natural system that's beyond Freemasonry. It doesn't mean that has to be wrong, but there are some qualitative differences, you know, definitely.
I don't know why you think that. How many people actually came after you about that?
Well, I don't want to say came after me. I didn't exactly, I just said response. The response. You guys can qualitatively judge whether you think that responsive, but once again, you're putting words in your mouth, and I'm saying
I'm asking
to me,
you.
it's more of like a psychic energy, Deb, which I consider valid. I think it's more of a psychic pushback.
It's there.
What, you want me to prove, like in a court of law, that people came after me? I don't do that shit. That's not my thing.
I don't think she was asking that. I think she was just trying to clarify it more. But it probably.
I wanted to.
I think she was asking that, and that's why
I wanted to know if it was us. If you need us to change our behavior.
I'm not asking you to change your behavior. I'm just
principles before personalities.
I didn't ask anybody to change their behavior, Deb. Just put words in my mouth and just think about it. I would implore you. Just read my words that I wrote.
I did, and I was very nervous afterwards.
Okay, well, all right.
It sounded really like you wanted revenge against people.
A revenge? What kind of a revenge would I be getting?
I don't know. The way you were talking, maybe I'm reading more into it than there is.
Well, I don't know what type of a revenge I'd be getting. What am I getting? What can I conceivably get?
I think she's talking about psychic vibes too. And we can't ask her to, she doesn't get to prove it in court either. I think you both are just talking about just the vibe, and that's okay. That's valid for me. You can literally say, I got this vibe. That's valid as fuck, man. I got zero beef. You don't know when.
I never said it wasn't. I never said
that's what it was. Just a vibe.
I'm just saying, I think both of you are sharing vibes with each other. Neither of you is requiring the other to prove that the vibe is valid. I'm just trying to get us beyond the point where we have to prove feelings are valid, because honestly, it's hard as fuck.
Well, but it's, pardon my French, but it's rude as fuck to put implicatory words in people's mouths so that has to stick on me, like revenge and I'm upset and all that stuff.
I asked you if you were. I didn't put it on you, love.
I'm just asking you to quit splattering me with words that you want to associate.
Okay, I will be less concerned.
I just don't care for it, all right? Respect that.
I get you.
Please.
Hey, Deb, thank you for actually coming and talking to Py about this on the Dojo platform. I think that shows that you're here, for the right, or you're doing the right thing. And I didn't get the sense that you were trying to get him to prove anything in a court of law when you asked for some examples. When you guys were talking about the vibe, were you referring to what happened on the airship radio, or are you talking about the original message that kicked off our decision to do the episode? Because when I read Py's original message, I didn't even anticipate it going the way of talking about Masonry. I was thinking about Plato associating truth with light and some things of that matter. And when it ended up going to the Masonry thing, which is fine because it's a fascinating topic. Py mentions, living in the capital and seeing a lot of Masonry work. Also, I also, I've been in about every courthouse in the state of Oklahoma, and every single structure is built by a Mason. And I've been without knowing anything, I've been completely suspicious of the Masons and basically to a point of indifference, or actually not even indifference, more to a point of gratitude for just that general sense that people see a value in organizing. But what vibe was that? Was the vibe you're talking about? You picked up the vibe from the message, Deb? About the Masons, because I guess everybody must have sensed that, because it did seem like to me, as far as in Py's defense on the radio show, it did seem like Py was on one side of the line, and then there was a lot of people who had, because maybe of family and Masons.
That too. That's why I think he's valid to have feelings like this, because those were the vibes, right? That Py was sort of alone on that island defending it. But also, to me, I think this is good. This is good karaoke, right? It's like you want to be the only one on that island defending.
No, I didn't. I enjoy it. I like to discuss things out in the open. Why would I be? I just, why does everybody have to act like I'm so upset? I mean, this is what I like to do.
Well, it's not everybody. I do want to ask.
I didn't say everybody. I just,
you just got through saying that is all.
Okay. Well, Sorry,
you
I
literally
meant.
just did, and it's okay. But I'm just trying
It's
to.
like when I say you know too much, but
But
I
when
mean,
we talk
whoever.
about vibes,
Okay.
I think the reason why you were asked to be more specific is because of it sounded like a generalization that everyone was against you. When I'm just trying to say that, look, I think they're just looking for specifics because not everyone. It felt like everyone's against you. It literally felt that way to me too. But I also think that in addition to it feeling that way, there's the way it actually is, which is that this is a radio show and people are just throwing ideas out and it's framed in this way. I felt bad for the way I talked to Deb because I'm like, Deb, you don't know what happens to 33rd degree Freemasons. They did like I know that in my heart that's not what I meant, but Deb, as I was listening to the show, it sounded like that was how it was framed. And I remember telling Rene, I was like, fuck, I wish I wouldn't have sounded that way because I'm not even that invested in it. But
Yeah.
this,
Well, it sounds more stupid when you just say it's the radio show. I made a further comment, and there was discussion, like in the Patreon chat. Just to put it in context, it's more than just. It's what do I have to like regurgitate the entire thing that I said? I mean, it's not that many things. Like people act like I wrote a book or something. I don't think it's very hard for people here to have like seen what I've said and at least have some familiarity with it, where I have to like, make it look like I didn't say anything.
Can I tell you what I thought you were saying so it will be really clear? When I read it, it sounded like you were saying these people were against me and now they're quiet. Magic is real and I can silence people. That's what I thought you were saying.
Well, seemed pretty clear that I was trying to right away show how I thought it works, the evil eye, from my zetetic experience with, in real life, not as a doctrine or what somebody says, how it works for me and how it's always worked for me, regardless of my level of awareness of any family ancestry or anything like that. I'm just sharing how it worked for me. I said that right away in my first sentence or two, I believe.
Okay.
I'll have to revisit that. It's been, almost a week since I looked.
Excuse me. I don't mean to interject, but as I witnessed the show, I think, Py, you were just maybe kind of expressing the fact that you witnessed it more as like a booster club, and that you as an individual are more on the path at which some of these people pretend to be and keep it secretive. But part of this, like the hermeticism of it, is the fact that you're keeping it pure. That's what you're doing. And I feel like during the airship, it may have come across that you were taking things personally from the other the Masons that weren't accepting you. And then I feel like maybe Dell or Brad's approach to you saying you were taking stuff personally was just a misinterpretation within all of our personal stuff.
I said it was from my own personal zetetic experience.
Right.
There was no title given for the show, so I wasn't exactly sure which way it would go. And so I just said a ride with Py. And so I just started talking. I asked, like, so what's the, I did try to start talking about it, but, part of the comment that I made that had James ask me if I wanted to talk on this topic was talking about Freemasonry and its relationship to the ancient Greek. And so that was part of the topic. And so I don't understand why people are confused about that. And I enjoyed the opportunity to be on the airship, and I just followed it up with some other things.
I I think you're.
That's just. I said the Kiwanis was the only good thing that I could find that this one Shriner had done, outside of his own family. And just, it was part of my questioning. It had booster clubs had nothing else to do with it. I don't think they're booster clubs at all. I was just citing an example of what one that I knew intimately and didn't see them do anything for the community or anyone except for having a Kiwanis pancake feed that supposedly helps some kids. It's just, that's phoning it in. He didn't do much. So that was just one of my examples that's, if there's a sourness in my voice, because why would I, I'm giving it as kind of a sad example of my experience, and so I'm not gonna, of course I don't think it's a good, I'm citing it as a qualitatively low example of the activities that I experienced. And, just if you think that Freemasonry is more than that, that's what I asked. I'm interested in people's personal experiences. Don't
I think all these things are whatever we'll get from.
Like, if you're going to show me anything, tell me something about your personal experience. Don't, send me a page of dogma that's supposed to show me what I really should think, because, obviously I'm not the kind of person that's gonna, I consider a lot of things, I'm pretty open, and I don't think I'm like super upset. I feel pretty calm mostly, except I'm a little dilated by all the stuff, and I don't know, just trying to hold my own here and explain it. And I didn't get to say things very well. And I was a little bit, the idea that it was more important to have a good time on the ride than to hear what people said. It's just, I don't know. I guess I did kind of take that as to say that it wasn't very important what I was saying, even though it was a ride with Py, but somehow it wasn't important to hear what I said. I kind of disagree with that, and instead of making excuses for it, maybe, we should just, be more equanimical in our assessment when we're just talking about radio quality. Does that have to be a divisive issue, talking about some production values that could be improved? I didn't even suggest that anything changes or anybody changes how they think. I even said, don't change anything. I was just bringing up, qualitatively, there was a lot more people than I was expecting. I didn't know what the topic exactly was going to be. I just went with my comment, which included pretty much a comparison to Freemasonry. It was my whole point and my family motto, which led me to it. It's my personal experiences. I don't need to go on and share more. I think I shared a lot, and I thought maybe there might be people that are interested, more in the sense that they'd want to ask me, tell me more. But I just got to energy.
I'm sorry, I really apologize for misreading.
No. I don't think there's anything to apologize for. And Py, I think as far as for your sake, or in your case, I think you did great. I mean, it's our second airship radio. I thought you stood in, and I think, but as I hear you discussing a lot of the stress and the turbulence you're dealing with, I feel like it's mostly, I think we're all psychically keen here, so I'm sure it's all rooted in well-founded psychic energy. But I also think that you're running through a lot of scenarios in your head and burdening the group with these scenarios, maybe that and that's just I think it's fucking amazing, because I literally can't even this is the amperage of the last situation. I can barely even watch from the live chat because my nerves are so bubbling over. And Clinton, thank you for your the assessment of what you witnessed. That feels about what I saw as well. And I think the Mason thing is going to continue to come up. And as far as reasons why it's difficult to understand, I mean, it should be pretty clear to everybody here now and people who watch that whether it's an amateur approach or not, or a professional approach, and however long we've all been in this stuff, it's very erudite information. Everything we're approaching is it's just a lot of nuance and a lot of, like you said, learning and unlearning. And as you climb tiers, you know, you go in different parts of the hermitage where you want to be seen or not be seen. I mean, it's a sine wave of eventualities and of feelings and of vibes that you have to work through. Rene, thank you for keeping your hand raised. Good to see you. Go ahead.
Hi, yeah. In the live airship last Saturday, I have to say that it felt more like a dojo than a radio program. It's like it was, is this a platform or a toolbox or a soapbox? You know, I'm wondering, you know, Py, like, do you kind of wish you wouldn't have brought this thing that is so specific to you? I know we all talk about Freemasonry quite a bit, but do you feel a little overexposed by this? And if so, you know.
No, I wish I could have talked about it more and had more of a flow and had less questioning of it while I was trying to present it as best I could with so many people in, you know, wanting to add in. So I wasn't really able to, you know, speak like as a guest. I was more like a side guest, I guess is the way this, you know, so I didn't, yeah, it was a little dojo-like because people kept, you know, asking me questions. I was just trying to, just made it difficult for me to paint a picture of my experiences very well. Obviously, it was not fully understood. I can see that. So just I tried to add to it, and I felt that, you know, I like, how could I listen to it, parts of it, and I'm like, there's no way anybody can even know what I'm talking about. You're only hearing like the last 25% of what I'm saying half the time, you know? So just, yeah, I felt a little unsatisfied because of that. And so that's why I made future comments, maybe for discussion, you know, hopefully to elucidate. But I did feel like there's some resistance, and I don't know, I wasn't really trying to make it out a certain way. I was trying to be prepared for whatever, you know.
Well, you were kind of looking for confirmation or more questions as to why your position taken was the right position. And I think because it was such a personal topic for you, and we don't know, I mean, I've been on this airship for a number of years, but we don't know the ins and outs and the personal story. So I would say it's kind of hard to relate that type of story to a group where they really just don't have the background.
Well, it's hard to tell a story.
Fixing because there was such a painful process for you, a lot of this with you and your partner. So often people come to want to fix it. So there's a toolbox, but you didn't want a toolbox, but you wanted to be heard and understood. But in the context of it being so personal to you, it might have been hard for a lot of people to get there with you. So just saying that.
Well, it's just, I'll just say it's hard to tell story when people are querying you along the way. So it just wasn't what I planned on doing, just didn't work as good in a group like that. So
or for that format, yeah. More of a live format than more of a dojo type of format, or, you know, on the mat. So that's where I saw it kind of felt a little different to me that Friday night. And I'm not saying that people coming in trying to give you tools was the right way to do it either. I'm just saying, as far as radio goes, we should take that into consideration.
Well, yeah, I was put on the mat, and so I kind of responded that way. You're exactly right, Rene. So, yes.
That's my input. Thank you.
If we're going to be
go ahead. Yeah, James, thanks.
If we're going to be thrown off by the radio show having a different vibe and being more like a band where we want to produce a vibe that people find entertaining, we just need to make that clear that this is a radio show and that this is a dojo, because I don't mind talking about personal feelings last Saturday, but I didn't feel like we were hearing any personal feelings. Honestly, Pi, I thought you were preaching, but without giving specifics about anything. You wanted everyone to be wrong but you, because you wanted to be the only person that knew what the truth was. And people were asking you directly, can you give me an example? And you couldn't. And we were left in a room that I felt deflated because we didn't actually have an idea. None of us actually had something to chew on. We had a nuance of an idea, and I asked for more.
Well, I could be wrong,
I feel
but
bad for that.
I don't remember anyone asking me for an example.
I won't do that anymore with you.
Once.
I won't do that anymore with you about Freemasonry, and it sucks because I don't remember it coming out. I'm pro Freemasonry. I remember coming out saying that Freemasonry causes people to feel that either they're rejected or not rejected by something, and that itself is the Hermetic order. But that got turned into James loves Freemasonry, and now there's this vibe where no one's allowed to question Freemasonry. And to me, I think that's a gross misinterpretation that shows that you weren't listening too. I don't think you were listening Saturday. I think that you have the ability to participate in an entertaining format, and you didn't do that Saturday. I think something personal was bothering you, and I think that that's what came out. And you weren't welcomed with the Dojo way because we were doing a radio show.
Well, since it was based on my comment, it shouldn't be like a big surprise, because if you read the comment, you might get the idea. I mean, obviously I can't even believe I have to, because I said Freemason, that you implied that people love, people. What are you talking about? You had a whole bunch of stuff about, where you were shown about Freemasonry. Nobody asked me anything. People just asked me, you would say, this is true though, right? Like that maybe, what could I say? Yeah, I couldn't really tell the story very well. And like I said, there was a lot of interruptions, and I don't remember anybody asking me for one single example, like to get very specific or press me in any way. Like, can you give me an example? Because I could have. So I was just trying to summarize in the different
I think there's more telepathy there, and you missed it. And I think that you could have tapped into that telepathy more, because I've seen you do it. And I don't think Saturday you had it, and you wanted to be offended, honestly. That's how I felt.
Well, how could I operate in that with just, everybody interrupting all the time? I wasn't able to say that much. I tried to partake in it. I didn't really know what to expect. Like I said before, nobody seems to think it's a big deal, but I wasn't expecting there to be 6 people in the green room. I'm like, well, and then I was unsure. I'm like, well, maybe it's not that much of a ride with Pi. And, with that kind of uncertainty, I just didn't exactly know what to do. But it could have, people could have left me just a little more space to try to say something. I felt a little kind of rushed, and I just didn't feel like I could really do, there just wasn't enough time. I didn't really have.
I felt like you had the mic, but you weren't saying anything, and other people were just trying to contribute because they felt that you weren't saying anything. And I was one of those people. And we wanted to keep the topic moving with some meat in it, to have something tangible.
I know. Well, when everybody's talking at once, there's it sounds like you're not saying anything, but I know what I said, and I actually was saying something, but you couldn't hear it because of that. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that a big deal to bring up a production value, that I have to be that it has to be that it's this
big deal? Can you explain
thing that?
Can you explain what you mean by, is that a big deal?
Why does it have to be that it's such a personal thing? I said it was from my personal experience. Of course it's personal.
So you think this is a really big deal because I brought it up? Am I bringing it up in a way that says, look, this is a really big deal?
No, I said, I can't believe that it's a big deal that I talked about that. And, you're trying to say that I tried to do this, and I'm just showing you.
I'm trying to give you some insight into why Saturday happened the way it happened, and why we're doing it right now still. That's why I'm trying to give insight into that. Look, energetically, there's something that has nothing to do with Freemasonry that has been happening since Saturday, and because we won't be specific about it, it's happening right now. This is where I think we are.
Well, what does anybody want to ask me specifically? Like
Nothing.
what?
I don't want to ask you about Freemasonry ever again because I feel that it really offended
Okay.
you. And it bothers
It
me
doesn't.
because I don't like that that's what happened.
I had some people tell me how they think it works, including you. Nobody's asked me. Nobody's still asked me yet. What are you talking about? Why can't you see that?
Saturday during the show. I think others did too.
I was trying to throw you a rope a couple times.
And I think that it bothers you because you're like, I don't want to show. I want it to be Dojo. And I'm here to say, look, we need to fix that. I don't want Saturday to be confused.
I did not want it to
Dojo.
be Dojo. I understood that it was bringing enthusiasm, and
why did you precurse this with, and we can't even talk about how we feel because we have to pay attention to the radio show? Why would you say that twice, 3 times then, if it had nothing to do with that? Because that's what I think happened Saturday.
What did I say
today?
I don't even get what you just said.
You spoke to the format being discombobulated to you. It was too much like a dojo, and it made it to where you couldn't get your piece out. You felt like you should have been allowed more deference as the guest to hold more of the floor, which seems like a pivot in issue. Because at first I thought you were taking issue with feeling condescended about by asking, "Are you okay?" and feeling like it almost seems like you feel like you're in a lodge, and there are Masons that are or that you're being attacked. Or I feel like you feel like you're being attacked, or that's what I felt at first, and now it feels like it's more like an issue with the format, and that you should have been allowed more deference as the guest to not been interrupted when you were presenting.
And plus, I didn't receive any inquiries. I received challenges, kind of like or statements to try to like recharacterize things I said as I was speaking. They weren't inquiries. There were no inquiries that I remember, and I just can't. See, I know myself. I'm happy to give details. I don't know if people want the details. You know, if I missed it, okay, I missed it. You can't even hear what everybody's saying. You know, why is that not important that I couldn't even hear and other people couldn't hear? Why is that not important? I don't
think anybody's.
When did anybody say it's not important that you like? When did this come up? What just happened? Did we just experience a time gap where all of a sudden all of us are saying we don't care? What I
didn't say everybody.
This is something emotional that has nothing.
Okay, you want me to give a specific?
No, I don't want to play this game because I don't want to set it up where I have to keep prying it out of you. If you have something to say, I want you to say it. If you don't have something to say, I want you to say I don't have to say it.
Okay, I thought you read the comments where Brad, or in the last dojo where Brad was talking about that it was kind of more important that we kept it fun. And when I brought up about this issue of like it cutting in and you couldn't hear what people were saying, that was in the last, wasn't it in the last dojo that I brought it up? Pretty sure.
I don't know because Brad's not here. It's okay. We can talk about it.
I know. Well, that's why I'm not giving the specific. But since you pushed me on it, that he said that. Nobody remembers. I think it's in the last. It's somewhere.
You have an issue with Brad because he's the one that's saying we don't care about what you have to think. See, I don't think that's it. I don't think that was it.
Yeah, no, because he was one of the ones that was talking a lot and kind of asking me questions, kind of contrary like questions to what I was saying and interrupting a lot. And then he was also the one that said it didn't really matter, implied that it didn't matter, or I forget how he phrased it, that it was more important that we have a good time. And I don't say it's not important that we have a good time. See, that's putting words in my mouth. It's like, I'm not saying that it's not important. I'm just saying, why does it have to be that it was unimportant that we couldn't hear what people were saying? To me, that is important.
And I think you just created that and then said everyone else is doing that. Because I don't know anyone that said, hey, what you're doing is not important or what you're saying is not important. I think that Saturday you weren't saying anything specific. We tried to pull out what you had.
James, on Saturday, there was a point when Py started to get rolling and it was very intimate, and Brad made a comment jokingly, tell us where they touched you, Py.
Okay.
And then you said, tell us where they didn't touch you, Py. So he was starting to talk, but there was radio interplay. Look, when I was in karate a long time ago, it was the dojo, and I would go to the bathroom when it was time to fight. And my sensei, he acknowledged that. He's like, you always score high enough in your test to get the belt. You don't have to fight if you don't want to. I normally just listen, you guys. I love all of you. I think Py was just being misunderstood, and it was taken as a joke when he was trying to deliver his stuff. And right now, it's a shit show of misunderstanding. And
I remember that occasion, Clinton, and I thought James did a really good well to tack it right back in and steer it right to a place, because I could see why Py might have taken that and as something that wasn't helping him continue with his show. But in general, I think Brad, Deb, Yesenia, we got a whole new cast of participants here who really bringing a lot of eagerness to the table. I think that's one of the best things that James True Live's got going for it. And so, Py, as long as you've been here, man, again, I before we went live, I was praising you in the group for your ability to take issue with things. It's not something I do easily. So I don't want you to stop anything you're doing, but I do think that with the eagerness of the group, I think most of these opinions about trying to have fun, I think that's looking out for the airship radio itself, and it shouldn't come at the cost of the exploration that we've been doing here for a long time, I suppose. But I think it's worth it. It's worth Brad, maybe if you feel having stepped on a couple of your starting off points, I think it's worth it, because I love the eagerness, and I think Brad contributes a lot to the conversation, and like you, who really do a masterful job. Or I say masterful, I don't mean to. I'm not trying to flatter, but I think you in general do a really good job of being able to speak in these sessions without needing to raise your hand. I think Brad also exhibits an ability to be able to read the room psychically and know when to fit in. There's going to be a few miscues, but is it taxing, James, or anybody, or should that even matter? It feels a little taxing to me into the dojo that we're getting so into the sausage of. But again, I guess that's what dojo is about. I'm going to go ahead and move to True real quick, because he's had his hand raised so long, and I don't want to distract you, True. But I liked what you brought last time you spoke about saving your words for a certain, not presenting your intentions before something has reached its completion. And I think that pertains to the evil eye, and to a great extent, in my mind, when you were talking about this new practice you were going to be undertaking. And it's good to see you, man. Thanks for raising your hand. Go ahead.
Thanks, Cameron, for recognizing that. I've always worn my heart on my sleeve, and I'm really trying to be mindful not to do that so much. Yeah, but I was not present on Saturday. I did listen to most of the broadcast, and I did read your comments, Py. And the one that touched me, and feel free to just pass on the question, but I'm going to pass. What really touched my heart was and I'm reading the words that you wrote, the deep sense of melancholy that your partner paid. I don't know what that means. It touched my heart because my great uncle was a high-ranking Freemason. My grandfather, his brother, was the town drunk. My great uncle was a high executive in an oil company. My grandfather was the town drunk, and it haunted my father, and I paid some of the price. So I'm curious. I want to give you space to talk about that if you want to.
Well, it might have been a typo, but what I meant to say was in response to some characterizations about how I'm bitter and old, that I'm not, that I'm nonchalant towards it, because, it's just the interplay. I think what I said was, what I do have instead of those things, what I do have is a deep melancholy for the price that my partner paid.
Yes.
An ocean deeper than any Freemason could conjure or fathom. But then again, that would be the price of doping. But it was more theft than lying because it was right in front of us. And we knew exactly what was happening the entire time. And it was just like a constant drooling hyena, ha ha, we're going to steal from you and we're going to continue to do it for 33 years, which nobody would expect. So I certainly did not.
What exactly did they steal from you? I'm really curious about this, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm not trying. This is not a trick question. I'm really curious.
Well, a lot of things were stolen. Money, equipment, all connections to record companies. And it's hard to tell the whole story, but just one thing was that I was blamed for my partner's band quitting because she wouldn't give in to some demands that they had. And they were big babies about it and broke up the band when they were about ready to renew their record contract with Sire Records. And then my friend, who I used to be friends with, who was also my bandmate, but also was in that band, felt like I stole that band, which meant the most of him of anything, of any of his bands. Even his sister told me at the Hall of Fame thing, his sister, the senator. But he blamed me for that. And he used his Freemasonry peeps and musicians to go through with it and convinced one of the front guys when we were just about to make a movie that he had a drinking problem and that he was going to embarrass himself if he continued to be in this band. And so he got them to join up, and then they quit. And so we couldn't continue, and so that's all right. We had a good 7-year run, and I wouldn't want to be part of the music scene now anyway. So I'm still, ultimately, it's still that rule of vitriol where I still benefit, but I'm just, I was just trying to present, what it seemed so unnecessary. They didn't need to steal from me. My partner had a gift of sharing, but, it resonates through the world. People still talk to her, but, she could have, we continued. We played music. We didn't become famous or anything, but we did our thing. We wrote lots of songs. We had different bands. We had a great time. And the stuff that they did was lame. Rockabilly, some stupid regurgitated blues bullshit that they still torture everybody with every fucking weekend. I don't, I think it's stupid, but I totally do not covet in any way the things that they stole ultimately. But it was not fun to see it in real time be stolen from you.
Painful. It really is. Yeah.
I feel the same. I feel that. I had the same thing happen to me in a different way. And it's the most heartbreaking. So now I understand the emotion that was connected to all of this. I'm a big empath, and I was picking up all kinds of stuff and trying to tiptoe because I really don't know you because you're very mysterious. Mysterious. And you're a little cryptic. So
yeah. This is what I sensed. I said earlier, it's not Freemasonry, because honestly, what you're talking about, there's no tenet in Freemasonry that tells you how to steal people's band equipment or justifies it or says this is what you should do. So we can say that it's Freemasonry. We can say that, or we can just say this guy's name was actually John, and fucking John did this to me. And I
don't know the details of why they have to have musicians in these positions. I don't know. I'm not a Freemason, but.
And I don't think Freemasons wronged you. I think people wronged you, and they use their connections with other people to wrong you more. And instead of holding them accountable, you want to hold Freemasonry accountable. And if you catch me defending Freemasonry by I did Saturday, you're going to think that I'm justifying them stealing your band equipment. And I think that's inaccurate. And I think this is really why we had a bumpy night Saturday, was because of this. Ultimately, that's it. And you can't dump that on Freemasonry because someone like me is going to give you a hard time. But someone like Deb is
I
going to
can,
wait and
because
listen
they
to
used
what
to,
actually happened and then show you true compassion.
what actually happened was they acted in the rope tow fashion through Freemasonry to accomplish this. And yes, I can put it on, because that's exactly what they used. You can say it's personal. You can say, oh, it's just a couple people, but no, it was the whole network wide, and I had, like I said, 33 years to observe it. So it's not like, it's not like a knee-jerk reaction, but it's just something I observed over time. It's undeniable. You can say it's just personal to say it's not true, or
I didn't say the word just. I never said the word just. I said it was personal.
okay.
It's very important.
Okay.
It makes it more important than if it's like a societal book that has a rule that says feel free to steal equipment because Freemasonry says that's okay. I don't think that's there. I think there's actually tenets that probably say the opposite of that.
There is.
And because we can't hold John responsible, we have to hold a group responsible, because that group is going to be able to take blame better than John is. It's at the heart of the prana economy that I sense right now.
Exactly.
I don't think it's that compartmentalized as you're saying. And that's, they definitely did it through a Freemasonry network and not with other people. And even on stage, in the venues in town that have the triangle of, they have a triangle, and they have like a little zoo fest, and it definitely is that. They definitely use that, and everybody knows me and I know them, and they did it in plain sight and saw what happened, and they withdrew their support as well, just exactly to the letter. All the people, not just musicians, artists, other people in the community, business people, everyone. And so,
James,
Can I finish up my share?
Yeah, Drew, go ahead.
Okay. When James said the word network, I just flashed on something. I once Ghost wrote a book on interior design, had a website on home decorating ideas. This was back in the early 2000s. I once had a number 7 first page rank on that search term. Thousands and thousands of hits. I was so freaking naive. I made the whole book available online for free, thinking that I could get people to buy it if they just, oh, this is really good, I need to have this as a handy reference guide. Bullshit. It didn't happen. Fucking networks stole it. The HGTV, our stuff, which was really unheard of at the time, like painting your ceiling blue to make the room look bigger. It started showing up on HGTV.
Oh yeah, it did.
All sorts of things from our book. And I got philosophical. First, it was like, Jesus Christ, what an idiot I was. Then I got philosophical about it, saying, well, we're improving the aesthetics of America. Somehow I'm invisibly transmuted, forming energy, blah, blah, blah. That's still bullshit. But I guess my point is the ability of individual human beings to hide out in an organization is not just limited to Freemasons.
Yeah.
Happens in every fucking corporation in America. So that's all I got.
Absolutely true. Thank you. Thank you, James, also, and Py. Brad, your ears might have been burning. We've been talking about you for a little bit. Good to have you, though. I'm glad you showed up, and I'm glad you raised your hand.
Oh, yeah, good to be here. Thanks, Cameron. Yeah, I've actually been here the whole time. I was just on the other side in the chat, and I basically, first off, Py, I apologize if any of my energy was careless. I didn't intend it that way. Mm-hmm. But yes, there is me reacting to the fact that, again, we've all been through stuff. I think that's why we're all here. And what I get the sense is you keep replaying this betrayal that happened then over and over, and we have to be the new betrayer. And that's not what I'm trying to be. That's not what I want to be. But when I first kind of met you in that first interaction in Dojo, and I mentioned that you were saying you were being attacked, and I was trying to support you in that moment. And now you feel attacked by me. And brother, I'm telling you, that is not my intent at all. Maybe a toolbox is not the right time to sort of, like we say, go to it, right? But all I was trying to say, Py, is what I was just hearing, what you were sharing, and you can say I'm misreading this bitterness, but I hear you repeatedly say things, and then when someone tries to offer your words back to you, you say, I spit them out. I do not. You keep putting words in my mouth, and I'm telling you, brother, no, I'm absolutely not trying to play that game. I'm honestly just trying to hear your words, and you are actively doing the opposite in telling everyone else in the room what they're saying to you. And I don't think you're really hearing our energy or anything we're trying to impart. I think you are so intent in seeing yourself as this persecuted person, which I'm not saying you weren't. I'm just saying I think all of us here have felt that way. And I do think there's a place beyond that, brother. I want to hear you. I want to hear you sing. I don't want to hear you complain about all the shitty music out there. I want to hear your music. If that's it, brother. So anything I'm giving you is trying to say, bye, go, brother, go.
You want to hear my violin playing? I don't think so. That's the only music I play anymore. But
what's that?
Brad, I was being attacked at that time. So please don't compare that time to this time.
What I'm saying is we've all been attacked.
It just implies that, because this isn't, I wouldn't exactly say I'm being attacked. I just, being challenged verbally in a conversation a little bit.
Well, I'm challenging you, but I'm challenging you to live to your own words. And that's what I'm seeing you not do. I see you say a lot of words, and then you dance away from them, pretending you didn't say what you just said. And you force us to insist, if we're going to have this conversation, you force us to insist you look at these words, because all you do is drop some words out. And then if there's anything said about it that you don't like, those aren't my words. Those are your words you're putting in my mouth.
I did feel that sometimes, maybe not for every single time. Just because it's not every single time doesn't mean it's not sometimes. Now quit these broad strokes. And it wasn't like before. I was being attacked. I was being attacked in like several ways before. But this isn't like that. This is different. This is a way lighter thing. So don't act like I'm all crazy, like, oh, he always feels like he's being attacked. If anybody wants to say that previous thing where you came in on and say I wasn't being attacked, I'm going to call you a dumbass, and that you're the one that's not fucking paying attention, because that definitely is what was happening. That's just ridiculous.
This energy from you, Py, I've not misread, and I've been reading it for a long time, and that's why I'm telling you, brother, I'm going to step back again and not engage with you, but just because I'm trying not to antagonize it, like you said. But this is a pattern I've seen.
Yeah. Well, you characterized what I said in a way that I don't like, and it's not the energy that I meant, even if I am being misunderstood.
You characterize what everybody else is saying in the room, just like you characterize what you say the Freemasons are thinking, or what somebody else is thinking, or that other people. You're constantly characterizing what everyone else in the room is saying, and then your report is, y'all are mischaracterizing me. Sorry, my phone.
Sometimes, yes, that's exactly what I meant when I said I object to a poor translation of my words, even though obviously I'm not being widely understood. Still, I know what I meant.
I don't think you're trying to be understood.
I didn't say it that good, or that I was misunderstood, doesn't change the fact of what I felt and what I meant, and it's not what you're saying. All right.
I don't think you're trying to be misunderstood. I don't think you're trying to be understood half the time, Py. I think you're trying to sound mysterious. I honestly think that's what's going on.
I'm trying to sound mysterious? Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. I'm just being honest.
I see that too, Py, because it does create a sort of a distance, which gives you a valid protection that all of us need. So we will personally separate ourselves by saying no one understands me.
Okay, I was not aware that I was sounding like I'm trying to sound mysterious. I don't,
Well, there's a lot of generalities that happen. And then when people try and fish to get something more specific, it's usually said, don't put words into my mouth. You can't say that. So we can't actually pull the generality out because
No,
it
I
used
was
to say,
that's no. That was a specific response to his characterization of my bitterness about Freemasonry when I was simply just showing what happened. It didn't, it didn't matter. The stuff they did didn't matter, but that's why it's so gratuitous. That's what I was trying to point out. It's like, why? Why would you waste all of your effort in your organization when you could do such good? And why would you even allow yourself to participate in an organization in this way if this is the type of things that you're going to do? And it's not just me. There were other people too. That's
what I'm saying. We're all suffering from the world, if you will. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that you're alone in this persecution that you felt. And the fact that the Freemasons in and of themselves or whatever else, it's like at the end of the day, it's not going to matter who we blame for wherever we find ourselves, but we will sit there. And for example, how many years, Py, have you spent reliving this pain? And I've done mine.
Jealous people. It was never persecution. I didn't feel like they're persecuting me. They just were jealous and tried to steal things from me. And I just went.
As I shared with you,
it didn't matter to me because I was doing my own thing anyway. There wasn't anything they could steal except for just some of the connections and things like that. But
if there are things weren't Freemasons, they wouldn't have done that, right? That those people would not have behaved that way if they weren't not inside of Freemasonic club, correct?
No, they could have behaved that. I mean, they might not have as big of a network, and they might not have had like.
Are you aware of any of the writings of Freemasonry that encourages behavior like that was done unto you?
No, I hear only to the opposite of that, which is why
here's the only point. Then I think this is the only point. I don't know why you were saying this is Freemasonry that did it to you. And it's harder for me to show sympathy about that because it feels like we are collecting all the blame and putting it into something that's intangible versus
I think
like
what
John
I was saying
or Tom or Bob.
Showing how Freemasonry was misused to accomplish this in a large way over a long period of time that was clear to everyone. And people had plenty of chance to adjust. And it's not in the past. This is up till recent times. Like I described that experience with that Music Hall of Fame thing.
So it is in the literature, Py. You're saying it's not, but actually you're coming back to say no. It is the Freemason. They are the ones doing this.
No, they still.
And I'm trying to dismiss it to the past, but you're not, which is something I didn't say. I'm trying to get you to blame a person who can be held fucking accountable, because if you blame them, you will stop using this as a way to bleed. And then you'll be able to have a good time and connect with people and say, I got fucked over by Tom. I got fucked over by Jack. I got fucked over by Bill. And those people I've learned to smell, instead of saying, no, the Freemasons have an entire setup that's created to steal my band equipment and there's nothing I could do about it.
That was like everybody there all at once. I'm not talking about individual things. And it was recent. And that former bandmate of mine has passed now. He's not even, no, this is just them. It
doesn't matter because it's the Freemasons. He's not even guilty, Py. It's the Freemasons that did this to you. So it doesn't matter if that guy died.
No, it was him.
He didn't do anything wrong. In fact, if he wouldn't have encountered Freemasonry, none of this would have happened. That sounds wrong to me. It sounds like a distraction, and it sounds like something that we're not going to touch anything human because we're talking about how the Freemasons did this. And it's hard for me. And I'm not defending Freemasonry. I'm trying to defend personal accountability. I'm trying to defend, why don't we hold humans fucking responsible for their own behavior? Instead of saying, look, you went to McDonald's once, and now you stole my car 8 years later. Fucking McDonald's does this to people. Same with Costco, same with Republicans, same with Hottentots, same with communists, same with liberals, same with Republicans. How does this help?
I did periodically hold them responsible for their behavior. So
not since Saturday. This is the first time that it's come up as even a possibility, Py, because you've been offended that others have been defending the people that wronged you. And the whole time I'm just talking about the very tenets of what this says. And you're talking about actual people that wronged you. And for some reason, these two have to be the same. And I don't think they are. I think they're very different. They have
Seems
nothing to do with
too
each other.
upscale. I just don't see how the organization that's described to me, how what happened to me could exist within that on such a large scale within that organization. That's just, and why would they continue it for so long? What are they getting out?
A church is a place for people that have problems with 10 commandments. That's why you go to church. You're trying to work on being a better person. A lodge is a place where people are working with logic, with the quadrivium, with finding themselves. So they join a lodge to try and better themselves for that. But me telling you this means I'm defending it. And I think that's unfair because I'm literally just describing how it works. That's all. I'm just describing how any kind of philosophy would work. Just because I read Plato doesn't mean that I think we should murder Socrates.
You're defending your understanding of it, but my experience prevents me from reconciling that.
Yeah, but Py, for everybody in the room, and I'm just going to speak because this is the vibe I thought was in the room because I thought that we've been over this topic. I thought we were of the opinion that the world is not broken, but all I'm hearing from you is that the world is broken, and that seems to be where this has gone. I think we'd had more fun talking about Freemasonry if it hadn't been such a personal thing. And the reason I think I reacted the way I did is because this is just what I've seen. It wasn't about Freemasonry. It didn't sound like it. And it sounded like
you being robbed was what it was about. It wasn't about Freemasonry. It was about you being robbed. And it's taken us this long to even get to it, to even look at it and say, oh my God, this is what it is.
Well, yeah, it's not about Freemasonry like what you're supposed to do, but it was definitely the Freemasonry group that engaged in it on a large scale in all walks of life.
It's not them, it's the Illuminati, it's the Jewish cabal, it's the bank. It doesn't matter who the villain is, Py. It just doesn't at the end of the day.
Because
it's us, man.
It matters to me, just that my observations matter. Like I'm not going to.
It matters if you want to stay in that place and hate them for the rest of your life and never make it anywhere else up the hermetic ladder, because you're going to be stuck at that level until you do.
What are these just are the good people that happen to have been through Freemasonry? Are they just survivors? Are they just people that just made it through an evil gauntlet and somehow came out okay? Because I'm serious. There's like a lot of legit people in history that have gone through Freemasonry. Like seriously, like a lot, like more than I could count. So is that just a weird fluke? Or can we finally say, look, Freemasonry didn't actually wrong Py. People wronged Py, and people wronged Py, but Py needed to feel that the world was wronging him, and so Freemasonry stepped in and filled that role, which is a vitriolic form of magic, which was my point last Saturday, was that you hermetically grow because you're allowed to use Freemasonry to place it as the blame for things, and then to have encounters just like this where you Freemasonically look at this stuff and go, oh my God, it's not them. It's not them. It's that, what's his name? Fucking Roger, piece of shit. Oh, he's dead now. And you get to go through the whole experience that, frankly, Py, all of us fucking have. It is not fair to insinuate that you've specially been robbed in a certain way that everyone else cannot relate to. And that it's from some secret special hype. No. All of our vitriol is the same. All of our sense of being betrayed is the same. It's all the same. And each of us process it differently. That's all. We process it differently because we have different calories that we bring to the table at different times. Some days we have more, some days we have less on the exact same topic. So we'll have a different approach to it. This is the feedback I was giving you Saturday. It was personal. It was directed right towards you. It wasn't meant to make fun of you. It was meant to make a good radio show because we were talking about human things. It was not a dismissal at all. It was, let's talk about, if we're going to talk about this, let's fucking get real. Because I don't think you're mad at Freemasonry. I think you're mad at three guys. That's my point.
Three guys. Okay.
Hey, Py, if I can jump real quick, because I told you in the thing, my big betrayer, if you will, as I told you, I had a man who clearly coveted my family, and I got on the back end to see all the correspondence that he and my ex had. He saw me with my children were 3 and 1, and I was summarily pushed out the door by a man who has spent this entire time actively trying to remove me from my children's lives, coveting my life, right? And as I told you there, yeah, I could hate this guy. At first, of course you do. But you know what? That's the thing. I'm not going to be stuck in, I'm not going to give him that I'm going to spend the rest of my life hating this guy that I feel like, it was a force in pushing me out of my own family and taking my children out of my lives. Because you know what? No, I care too much about my heart, my joy. And you know what? That bitterness, and when I held on to it, I was infecting my kids with it. And everyone else. And it was actually seeing the damage I did to my kids that really made me take this shit seriously and sit down with myself and realize, you know what? I have to recognize what this man has done positive. Anything that I feel like he's done wrong, covetous or whatever like that, that's between him and God. That's not my business. And I mean that when I say that. I've got no hate in my heart for this man or ex or anything like that. I can love the man and appreciate him while seeing what I would consider his faults. Because you know what? I can also see mine. But like I said, you can choose to hate that person that wronged you your whole life if you want. We all can. There's nothing special about that.
Brad,
well, once again, you're putting words in my mouth because I haven't hated them my whole life. That's not a
Hey, I'm just trying to share my experience.
Feelings. In fact, I stated that I mostly had nonchalance because I don't desire the things that they took ultimately. So I'm already reconciled with that. There's no ongoing bitterness, and it's not three people. And I tried to show how it was, how am I supposed to show that? What, you want me to give a list of people that you don't know and cite their occupation?
You show it by shining.
Really childish to hear you get on
did.
that three people thing, Py. I think you're just throwing a tantrum at this point. I'm sorry the number 3 offended you. You want to say 4? You want me to say 16? You want to say 30? I will. But the point is that people wronged you, not an organization. And you're interpreting me telling you that people wronged you as me saying people did not wrong you because you don't get to blame Freemasonry. I'm fucking sorry, man.
It was a
Freemasonry is it. Everyone is innocent.
Not how you meant it when
Doesn't
you said
help.
You meant to diminish it.
You meant to feel it diminished because I brought it closer to you and I showed you the actual person who did it, and you instantly rejected it because you want it to be a giant satanic organization that's running the entire planet.
I didn't say it was satanic, but it was pretty giant.
It's more than 3 people and less than satanic. Okay. We know now that it's somewhere in that range, but no matter what I say, it's going to be the wrong characterization. And I think that's showing the prawn economy of what's really happening here.
Did I say anything close to satanic? Did I imply anything that needs to have that attached to it? That my words? I don't.
You're doing this circular arguing thing that it's not an appropriate model. If I was your group therapist, I would say you have to stop bringing it. The
Shopping going on. I propose that makes that difficult. So I don't think it's. I don't think I could really right now.
We got 3 minutes left. Rita, you mentioned something in the chat that you've noticed something. What do you see?
I have the experience of working with past lives, and we are clearing all kinds of traumas from past lives, including this one, of course. And it could be, many of us have been in secret societies, not in this life, I have not, but in past, yes. And things have happened before. And some of the things that have happened before have been very gruesome, very challenging, very harsh times. And what I see, and I don't know if it could potentially be of help of understanding this, because I can see both sides of the coin here. There is the level of personal, individual responsibility, which is the main one. But if we do have past negative experience memories in ourselves, we will attract to us possibly this kind of experiences with organizations and with specific organizations. So I feel that there is a conciliation here going on from both sides. I can see both being part of maybe of a past experience. And this could be also the reason why it's such a deep wound for Py. Because these things have usually happened many times over, and especially if in this life, if it's of this level of amplitude, I can guarantee you that even worse things have happened in the past on both sides of the coin. We have been involved in all kinds of dichotomies, let's say, and conflicts in order to learn and to grow and evolve consciousness. So, and this might help to heal. I don't know. It's just a perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. It does appear that something is kind of dichotomized here, and I think I feel like I'm seeing something different than the overall subject of Masonry. But we've come to the 90-minute mark, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it there with thanks to Rita for stepping in there at the last minute and providing that fresh perspective, and thank you also to everybody else who contributed. It's a little more of a rockier session today, but it's been a while since we've had one of those. I think we were due, and
that's right. I hope everybody's okay with this and the energy of this. I think sometimes it's important. And Kameron, thank you for holding a steadfast mod through it. I really appreciate that too. So, also being the dude that's kind of in charge of this thing, I do deeply regret that I have opinions too, and that those seem heavier because I'm sort of in charge of my name's on the building. I don't like that, and I'm sorry. And I wish there was something I could do about it. But also, I really think that what I said Saturday was important during the radio show. I think that me trying to move the thing back into a way like that, especially on the radio show, is important, and it's something I want to keep doing. But when it comes time to Dojo, this is a different focus, and I'm glad this happened. Py, I don't mean this to be disparaging. I just want to say I love you and respect you, and I'm really glad you came. I hope this is being heard in a sincere way. So thank you all. Anybody want to unmute? We can all throw some last words in and wave. Hope to see you guys tomorrow night at the radio show, among other things. And,
love you all.
Everybody.
I especially, I love you today.
Appreciate you're here.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.